Hi, and welcome to week 5. So we're going to start off week 5 right there, and we're going to go to PowerPoints for chapter 9, and there they are. And so we'll pull those up. There we go, and enabling them. Okay, so informal reports, what chapter 9 is about. And we go into outcome, explain informational and analytical reports, functions, organizational strategies, and writing styles. Okay, so if we go in here, reporting in the digital age workplace, routine reports keep managers informed about completed task projects and the like. Okay, so 3 main purposes of business reports. Here's the information you wanted. Here's your answer. Here's one solution. So it conveys information, answers a question, or solves a problem. Okay. So characteristics of a business report: informational or analytical. Informational presents data without analysis or recommendation, are routine and often periodic. So it just tells you what's happening. That's it. If you had sales of $10 million yesterday, it says sales were $10 million yesterday. If you're comparing those sales with the day before, the month before, the year before, it would include that information without any type of adjectives or anything like that. It would just give you the information. Analytical provides data analysis, finding analysis, and conclusions. May also supply recommendations and tend to persuade the readers. So if the sales were $10 million yesterday and last year on that same day, sales were $100 million, then it would give you an analysis of why it believes that there was a $90 million drop in sales and any recommendations it may have for improving that to getting back to the $100 million. Audience analysis and report organization. You have the direct and indirect, just like the last time, direct and indirect. So report writing style is friendly, casual tone, first person pronoun contractions, shorter sentences, familiar words, conversational language. Okay, that's not your research paper. That's report writing style. It's for the informal report writing style. For the formal report writing style, emphasizes on objectivity, accuracy, fairness, professional distance between writer and reader, may use third person, absence of humor, figures of speech, editorializing. Okay. Next, learning outcome, describe typical report formats and understanding the significance of effective headings. Okay, so report formats, you have digital format and PDF files, digital slide decks, infographics. There's a ton more now. I mean, it seems like every week we're getting different ones that are coming out. So it's extremely difficult to stay on top of all the different types. Usually the company you work for will have a specific one it likes and that people are used to or familiar with. So you would just get to know what they use. Okay, so we can just go down here to here, learning outcome 3, identify the problem. Identify the problem the report addresses, define the report purpose, and collect significant secondary and primary information to solve the problem. Okay. So we have problem statement. What can we do about problem X? Statement's purpose: to recommend a plan for solving problem X. Okay. Collect information from secondary or primary sources. Those are all the different ways you can do that. And then prepare short informational reports that describe routine tasks. So trip, convention, and conference reports, identify the events, preview the topic to be discussed, use headings and bullets, summarize the main topics, express appreciation, mention the value of the trip, offer to share the information, submit itemized expenses. Progress or interim reports specify the purpose of the nature of the project, provide background information if necessary to inform the reader, describe the work completed thus far, and explain the work currently in progress, including named activities, methods used, and locations. Okay. Minutes of the meetings. You can say where all the minutes are, even though that's kind of archaic. It's still required in a lot of companies. So if it is required, please do so. And they're basically just bullet points of what went on in the meeting. And there's some other things that are included in the minutes. Okay. Learning outcome 5, prepare a short analytical report that solves the business problems. And so justification, recommendation reports, explain the problem or need briefly, announce the recommendation, explain more fully the benefits, include a discussion of pros and cons and the costs, conclude with a summary of specific recommendations. To refer to the problem in general terms, describe the problem or a need, use specific examples, and discuss alternative solutions. Present the most promising alternative, show how the advantages of your recommendation outweigh its disadvantages, summarize your recommendation, and ask authorization. Okay, then feasibility report announces your decision immediately, provide a description and background, discuss benefits, describe problems, calculate the costs, and show time frame. And then yardstick report describes the problem or need, explains possible solutions, establish criteria for comparing the alternatives, tell how the criteria were selected, discuss the evaluate each alternative in terms, and draw the conclusion. Okay, and that's the end of chapter 9. So let's go to chapter 10. Okay, chapter 10 is proposals and formal reports. First learning outcome, understand the importance, types, and components of informal and formal proposals. So preparing business proposals, you have to define and show the importance and the types. Okay, so definition, proposals are written offer. Importance, proposals can mean life or death for an organization. Types, internal proposals and external proposals, whether it's within the company or for a client or potential clients. Components of informal, you have introduction, conclusion, or authorization, your background, proposal, staffing, and budget. Formal proposals, copy of RFP, an optional letter of transmittal, abstract, title, table of contents listing, introduction of body, background, proposal plan, staffing, budget, authorization, and appendix. As you can see, this takes a great deal of time. This could take years if it's a very large project. Components of informal proposals, introduction, explain why, highlights the writer's qualifications, and strives for persuasion. Background, problem and purpose, identify the problem and your goals. Unsolicited proposals describe an existing problem. For solicited proposals, use the language of the RFP and show that you understand the problem. Proposal plan and schedule. Present your plan for solving the problem. Describe the implementation and evaluation. Outline a schedule of activities and timetable. Okay, then how are you going to staff it? And then what's the budget that you're going to need authorization for? And what now? There we go. Learning outcome 2. Describe the preparation of formal reports, including their components, work plan, organizational strategies, and editing. So we write it in writing and editing formal business reports. Formal reports are similar to formal proposals in that the length, the organization, and the series tone. However, unlike proposals, formal reports do not make an offer or respond to an RFP. They tell you what actually happened. What to review when editing formal business reports: consistency, format, graphics, heading levels, mechanics, and accuracy. Running outcome 3, collect primary and secondary information, being careful to assess its credibility. Print resources, books rarely accessed by printing catalog, mostly online, periodicals, print indexes, now electronic indexes. So for like your research project paper, you would only use journals, not books, not wikis, something like that. Just academic journals, which would be the periodicals, but specific periodicals called academic journals. Okay. Research databases, which is how you'll get your academic journals. Google is probably not the best thing to use, but it can be helpful depending on what you're searching for, as long as you use the right wording to get the right search. Evaluating the credibility of the internet resource. This is why Google is not used very often, because it's extremely difficult to verify the credibility of the source on many of the websites that come up on each of the Google searches. So that's why we recommend going through the library to get the academic journals, because the library has paid for specific subscriptions to academic journals. So you wouldn't find them on Google because Google doesn't pay for the subscription, where ECU does pay for the subscription to access them. Learning outcome 4, identify the identify the purposes and techniques of documentation in business reports, as well as how to avoid plagiarism. Very important, how to avoid plagiarism. That's the first thing that could get you in really deep trouble, is if you're plagiarizing. Okay, so giving credit is ethical and offers these benefits: strengthens your argument, protects you from charges of plagiarism, instructs the readers, and saves time. So if you give a citation after you paraphrase someone's information, and then you have a reference page that references that citation, then that's not plagiarizing, because you're giving a citation. If you say something that somebody else gave you the information and you don't cite that person, that journal entry, periodical, then that is plagiarism. Okay, running outcome 5. Convert report data into meaningful visual aid and graphics. Picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So creating meaningful visual aids and graphics. Clarify the data, create visual interest, condense and simplify the data, make numerical data meaningful. Okay, so you're not trying to cram everything into one picture, you're trying to make it meaningful. Okay, so you have tables, you have bar charts, you have line charts, you have pie charts. It all depends on which one's going to make it meaningful as to which one you would use. Okay, and then the last one here, running outcome 6, describe the content of typical formal reports. So you have cover, title page, you have the letter or memo transmittal, you have table of contents, executive summary, introduction, formal report components and conclusion, and then recommendations, and then the appendix. And those are the pieces of the formal report. And then final writing tips: allow sufficient time. That's what I'm telling you right now. You need the time to be able to write your research paper, and you need time to research it before you can write it. So I would recommend that if you haven't already started it, during the final one, then it should be something that's on your agenda. Hope you have a great week, and I will see you via video next week. Take care.